I think the NBA kind of went away from being actual basketball. I think it's more of a like entertainers league now. Like they want to score as much points as possible. They want the crowd to be engaged with big plays and things like that. I don't want a coach calling me at 8 p.m. like about the game, or I don't want my teammates calling me, hey, look what coach did today, you know, like, because I feel like when I'm home, it should be separate. I think Europe is more pressure. Like, if I go to the next game and go 0 for 7 from 3, my agent's gonna get a call from the owner. I tell everyone all the time, like, that was the first time in my life that I actually felt like it was a chance that I could die.
Hello Isaiah, big thanks for joining my podcast. It's a great pleasure that you find the time, despite some health problems, but I'm very glad that you were like open to talk, and thanks for having time for me.
Yeah, of course.
And this is now your 8th season as a pro, and I was wondering, you play in so many countries. I was wondering if you could say at this moment it's easy for you to adapt to new places, new countries, new league? Because it's not a skill that person have or doesn't have. Some people have trouble, some people no. What about you?
I think I have the advantage of being from New York also. Just it's a lot of different people, and you come across a lot of different people living in New York. But as far as like overseas, I think I'm pretty easy getting used to countries and different people, stuff like that. So
you are just a few weeks in Poland, a few months in Poland, and so what were your first impressions about Poland?
My first impressions that it was beautiful. I went to I was only here, but I went to the center. I went to different restaurants, different malls, stuff like that. I mean, it's a great city, so I was impressed.
You were raised on Coney Island, region. Mm-hmm. How was like to grow up in Coney Island at the beginning of 2000s?
It was tough. It was tough. Coney Island is there's a lot of property there, so it was tough to grow up there. But I'm happy to be where I'm from. But basketball-wise, we have a lot of great players, a lot of great athletes. So I mean, they made it a little easier for me. But I mean, it was. Other than that, it was pretty good to grow up there.
This New York region, for me, I remember like the streetball aspect, the Racker Park, all the streetball plays. I know that you played a lot in the streets as a kid.
Yeah.
And do you think how much this streetball profit you right now when you play in like FIBA rules, FIBA basketball?
I think it does. I mean, just being able to handle the ball, make tough shots, break down defenders. I mean, that's just a New York basketball player. I feel like we grow up playing on the playground, and that's where we get our toughness, our grit. I think it helps a lot because FIBA rules are strict, but sometimes you have to go away from them. Like you have to break out of the FIBA way of playing just to, score a basket or make a play. So
many foreigners told me that the Polish league is very physical. So I was thinking that this fact that you had to fight in the streets in streetball that now helps you in Polish league.
Yeah, for sure. The more physical, the more better for me. I like to play physical. I like the way that they allow both teams to play physical. I think I played in a couple countries where there was always one physical team and the other team wasn't physical, and the referees kind of didn't balance it out. But I think they do a great job here just balancing it out and just letting it be a physical game and just to show you your skills. So.
But now I think when we see today NBA, for example, we see that the basketball evolving to be less physical. I think. I mean, I'm looking at, for example, the Golden State Warriors and this revolution that they started. Shooting so many threes. I remember I have so many friends that say, "Oh, I miss like the old NBA from 90s or 2000 when these big guys were more physical." Do you agree with that? That today today basketball general, global basketball is becoming less physical and more about just shooting as much as you can.
Yeah, I think the NBA kind of went away from being actual basketball. I think it's more of a like entertainers league now. Like they want to score as much points as possible. They want the crowd to be engaged with big plays and things like that. I mean, of course, you have probably the best athletes, best basketball players there. So if you put them in open space, and they're gonna do fantasizing things. So I think the NBA kind of used that to their advantage of having the best players, just to leave it open and just have an entertainers league. Yeah.
And do you remember first moment when you realized that you are quite good at basketball? Maybe that was tournament games or?
So I always tell people, like, from ages of 10 to 12, I played baseball. So I wasn't really a basketball player. I probably started because I had really bad allergies to pollen. So I switched over to basketball at like 12 because the doctor said I couldn't play baseball anymore because that was before, turf fields, and it was just grass and dirt back then. But I think around 12 years old, I started to play. I never played like a real game. I was playing outside and things like that. But probably around like 13, I went to a tournament and I was like the best player in the tournament, just off of like natural instincts and things like that. And then from there, it took off. So,
many interviews with you, there are some names that are like mentioned, and it's like Stephen Marbury, Sebastian Telfair, and Lance Stevenson. Like they're older guys than you, but you grew up in the same region. I think you went to the same high school, Abraham Lincoln High School. So I was wondering if there was a moment that you look at them. I know that you were many times heard, you were told that you are next Telfair, and you said you are next Isaiah Whitehead. But you hated these comparisons. But as a kid, do you remember that you were looking at them, see them as an example that, okay, you can be from Coney Island and still have like great career?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely was the motivation to play basketball, I think. I think the biggest thing from those guys were you choose which parts of them you want to, take on yourself. So, and I think I was much closer to Lance because he was more closer to my age. He was right before me. So he's always gave me like little motivational texts and calls, stuff like that. So I was grateful for that. But yeah, like you said, I always just wanted to be me. Like I didn't want to I didn't want to be in anyone's shadow. And then even when they would say, "Oh, you're the next big thing," blah blah blah, I'm like, "Look, man, let's just let me get there, and then you make the story." Like, so I was always like humble, just not letting too much get to me because like the way I felt and the way my mom always told me was like I'm still a kid, so like you still have to be a kid. Like you're good at a sport and you got a lot of attention, but sometimes sometimes you don't work out, go to the movies, go outside with your friends, stuff like that. Just be a kid. So I think that was a big thing for me growing up.
And it was easy to be a kid when you were one of the top recruits. When everybody wanted to be your friend, everybody wanted you in your team, stuff like that.
I think it was easy because I was raised with certain people and I stay with them until this day. Like they're still my very close friends. So I knew that my very close friends before I was playing basketball wasn't my friends because of basketball. So it helped me a lot just to know that I had them in my corner and I knew that I could trust them. So
you talk a little bit about Lance Stevenson, but how would you describe your relationship with him? Because from what I know, you have like your own basketball league, Pro-Am. And could you talk also about this league, this project?
So the project is next summer will be 5 years. So I started it myself 4 years ago. So last year Lance wanted to be a part of it. Us coming from the same building, we grew up in the same building. So that's where we have the tournament, like the court next to the building. So it's just something for the community. Like I said before, we have a high violence, poverty community. So when we do things like that, it brings everyone together, less violence, less stress on parents and stuff like that. We have it for the kids, we have adults, we have high schoolers, we have all ages. So it's just us giving back, since we made it to the highest level, just going back and just having giving them the summertime to, you know, not worry about anything. So.
And how is Lance as a person?
Lance is great. I mean, like, I know it's like maybe still like a little stigma about him, like about from before, but I think he's grown up a lot, and he's definitely one of my head like mentors right now, just about basketball, about life. You know, he's been through a lot. He's overcame a lot. So it's easy to talk to him. You know, it's easy I could call him and text him. And now that we do the project together, we even talk even more. So it's definitely a blessing to have him, you know, just in my corner.
I was wondering, we talked a little bit about this friends aspect, this fame aspect, but how do you remember this moment when you were in high school and you were one of the top prospects? Every good college wanted you, and you had to choose what you want. You pick Seton Hall, that was close, I think, So it was easy for you to like be calm, stay calm, not to get like, not to try all the things, all the stuff, all the fame that this basketball brings you.
Yeah, like I said before, my mom did a great job. Like she, you know, like you have 3 good games and the world is yours. You know, everything is, everybody's like, oh my God, you're so good, blah, blah, blah. I would get in the car and she's like, well, you had 6 turnovers. Like she always brought me back down to earth. You played good, but you messed up here, And I think like me growing up, like I've always played so hard just to get her, you know, compliment. So, and she knows that. So she'll compliment me, but then she'll say, you did this wrong. So I think she did a great job of not letting all of that, you know, get to me. And she shielded me also. Like I didn't deal with a lot of people coming up. I had my high school coach, my mom, my AAU coach, and that was about it really. I didn't deal with like outside world and stuff like that. So I think she did a great job.
So we can say that your mom was quite a good mental coach.
Yeah, for sure. Any situation, anything, she was there. So she helped me a lot.
And today also she helps you?
Yeah, actually today she's my financial advisor. So she's still around, yeah.
And could you tell me more about like the Seton Hall team? Because you played, for example, Sterling Gibbs, who played 2 seasons ago in Toruń. I heard a great story about you from Rashard Kelly with Wichita State. You played a game against Wichita State.
Yeah.
You score about like 17 or 20, like bucket after bucket, and you were quite good at trash talking. That you went to pointed at their bench and you said, every bucket for you, and then you look at the coach Greg Marshall, and also for you MF.
Yeah, that was college. College was great, man. I remember that. I remember Rashard too. He's a great player, you know. But yeah, I remember that. Like New Yorkers are great at that, trash talking. Like we're gonna try to talk you out of your game, and I think they actually beat us that game, so it didn't really work. I scored a lot, but we lost. So it was definitely a good moment though in college. I remember that was my freshman year in college.
But I was thinking, because I suppose that this trash talking skills came from streetball, like playing on the streets. But right now, when you play like in like more official games, are you still like trying to know trash talking to, for example, in Polish league, some rivals or?
So I think now as a professional, trash talking is more of your gestures, like what you do after a shot, or what you like. Because if you talk now, it's a technical, or like like the refs doesn't allow it. So like after I hit a 3, I'll look at the dude like this, throw up the 3 signs just to let him know that I scored on him, you know. Or if I get an and 1, I'll flex, you know, just to let him know, stuff like that. I think that's allowed. You just got to take advantage of, you know, what's allowed by the refs and what's not.
Who was the best trash talker you play against?
Trash talker that I played against, wow.
Or maybe
probably Draymond Green. Yeah, from the NBA. Yeah, when I was in the NBA, he talked like. I remember my rookie year. He probably don't remember, but I was a rookie, and he was like the whole game, just like Rook, you ain't doing that, Rook, no. And it was just like, bro, like leave me alone, like. he definitely got under my skin that game. I remember that game for sure.
And the worst, because I remember a story from Marcin Gortat, and he said that one of the worst trash talker he played against was DeMarcus Cousins, because he always plays, I will kill you, I will chop you, and it was, instead of making Marcin frightened, he making, smiling.
The worst, I won't say it was the worst though. I mean, I don't know. I think a worse trash talker is when you're playing in a country and it's a local player and they're playing good against you and then they're speaking their language. Like, I don't know what you're saying, bro. So it doesn't make sense for you to scream at me in your language. Like, I don't know what you're saying. Yeah. So I think that's probably would be the worst trash talker that I could come across.
And could you tell me why you decided to spend 2 years on college, not just having one and done, because you have so great first season. You won so many awards for a rookie. So I was wondering why you decided to go for another year.
I think after my first year in college, we didn't win a lot. So coming up, I've like you said before, I had a lot of fame and stuff like that. So I've won a lot. So I just didn't like the taste of leaving school without being a winner. I think I wanted to win something. And then I was with my friends from high school on my team at Seton Hall. So it was definitely a big part was me coming back to win. Just win there and for my friends. Give them a championship. That was our goal, and we ended up winning the Big East championship. So I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to make it look like me going to Seton Hall was for nothing. So I wanted to make an imprint on me actually going there, and I think I did it the second year. So
there was throughout many years there was some stories that it sounds like from the movie, because a guy grew up in New York, go to local high school, go to regional local university, then was drafted and traded to regional local team. Mm-hmm. It sounded so beautiful.
I loved it, but also I've always wondered what would have happened if I left from from
at
Brooklyn.
The beginning, to start career in Utah instead of Brooklyn.
So I think, I'm grateful for it, of course, but I've always wondered, did I need to get away a little bit, or did I need to get away just to be around different people, just have a better mindset, things like that. Because it was a lot of distractions. You're 20 years old as a rookie, and you're in the city that you're from. And I started half the year for the Nets, so it was definitely a distraction being that young, actually playing in Brooklyn. So I always thought about, what if I went to a different team? But on the other side, I could have not got an opportunity at all, because I was a second round pick if I went to another team. So I was grateful for it, but I've definitely always wondered what would have happened.
And how many people wanted to be your friends after you were drafted by Brooklyn?
I wouldn't say a lot of people wanted to be my friend, because I've always been a person that was selective to always. So I think me growing up that way saved me for when I actually, made it to that level, because people knew if I couldn't try to be his friend when he was in high school, there's no way I'm going to try to be his friend now he's in the NBA. So I think that saved me a lot, just growing up that way.
I asked this question because last season I spoke with Javon Evans, who now is playing for Legia. Yeah. And he told me that after he was drafted, there was some guys that were pretending to be his cousins. And
that's crazy. That's crazy.
And and another side, I know the story about Aaron Gordon, who went on a date with a girl, and he looked at her phone, and there was her Google search, there was Aaron Gordon net worth.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And tell me more about your first weeks in Nets camp, because there was I remember that moment of Nets history. They were trying to rebuild after this time with Billy King, with the spent so many lottery picks for like these experienced players.
Yeah.
They didn't work out and they paid the big price because later, if we look at the picks of Celtics, most of this like I think Tatum or there were picks that
Jaylen
supposed
Brown.
to be Nets picks. And tell me more about your first memories, first weeks in Nets. How was it like to be?
It was great. I loved the staff. I loved the players. We had a training camp. Had a weird training camp actually because when they brought me in, they told me I was gonna be like developmental. You know, over the years. You know, like 1 or 2 years, then I'll be ready to play my third year for the actual team. So I was gonna be in the D League. It was so. I was gonna be in that stuff like that. Then it switched over to the G League, and then they told me. During camp, I was playing really well and stuff like that, and then the craziest thing happened is our 2 point guards.
Yeah, Lin and Vasquez.
Yeah, they get injured. So it's like, all right, plans change. So, and then I think, and I'm like I said, like they could have easily went to get someone, signed someone, and fill in the spot, but they trusted me. So I'm grateful for Kenny Atkinson. He had a big role in. Giving me that opportunity to play. So yeah, I mean the camp was a lot. It was a lot. Just being a rookie, just being around veteran guys and they having the trust in you to control the offense. I think that was the biggest thing also. So being a rookie and starting in the NBA.
Yeah, as a second round pick.
As a second round pick is crazy it's crazy like just to say regularly. But now I'm the point guard. So it's like, that's like another level. So now everything goes through me. So now it's like, I think that was a big step, just actually being the point guard for an NBA team at 20, and when you came into the year, it was like, yeah, you're gonna be in the G League and you'll be back and forth, stuff like that, but you really won't play a lot. So I went from not playing a lot to just starting 60-something games. So it was crazy.
Do you remember? Did you have like welcome to the league moment? Somebody that?
Yeah, Drew Holiday. We played against New Orleans, and he picked me up full court the whole game. Like the whole game, he made it tough. Like dribbling and scoring, stuff like that. Like he made it. Like I played, like my first week I played Stephen Curry, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, Kyrie, and then Drew. So
great way to start.
So yeah, after the first 4, so I played Steph Curry first, then I played Chris Paul, then I played Russell Westbrook, then I played Kyrie Irving. So after that, I'm like, all right, I got Drew Holiday next. So I'm like, I got a break. Like, all right, I think it won't be as tough as the other ones. But that ended up being the hardest one. So just because of how good defensively he is, like stuff like that. So yeah, the NBA was definitely challenging. It's a big step.
And how was like with dealing with veterans? They were helpful for you, or they were just using you as a rookie to do rookie duties?
I had a couple rookie duties, but they were pretty fair. They understood the stress I was under just being a starting rookie point guard. So they didn't do too much, but like bags, go to the store, stuff like that. It wasn't too bad, but they still treated me like a rookie, but they understood the mental part of it that I needed, that I needed help with.
You also have chance to play some games in the second season. But after that, like this total 89 games, that is your current current score, we can say about this. Did you wonder, why did this stop? Why you didn't have many games? Why you didn't have because I know you tried through Pistons. You were on the Pistons camp, and did you were thinking at one moment what you could do more or better, or maybe it was bad luck or something?
So my second year was probably my best year as a NBA player, like in terms of just every time I played with the Nets, I did well. So, but I was going back and forth from the G League to the top team, And every time I went to the top team, I'd play well. I would have 10 points, 11 points, 12 sometimes, stuff like that. So it was going in the right direction, and the team, they liked my progress from year to year. But I think the second to last G League game, I tore my wrist. Like I tore a scaphoid ligament in my wrist. So that was like the end of the year. So they basically had to either renew my contract or pick up my option with a torn wrist or release me. So of course, they didn't know how, because the injury I had, it was only 2 people, basketball people, to ever have it. It was me and Patrick Hewen. So that was the only 2 people that had it. So they didn't know how I would come back from it. That's why when they did release me, they actually helped me get the job in Locomotive, the Nets, just to see, how I would come back, how the wrist would be, stuff like that. So they were definitely helpful with the process. They just couldn't guarantee me a spot with my wrist, with it being in a cast. So.
And it was easy for you to go back after this injury? How long took you to be a full?
I think I was in a cast probably for like 6-7 months. So it was a long time. Yeah. And it was my shooting hand. So that's why they were like we would love to keep you, but we just don't know the business side. We just don't know how you would do after you get out the cast. So I understood it. They understood it. We came to an agreement. And then they helped me get the job in Locomotive. Then I played well, and I went back to the Pistons, like you said. Yeah.
But we said that you said that you were thinking about what would happen if you will go to, for example, Utah instead of Brooklyn. And you mentioned, we talk about this fact that you played in local region. But how was like for you, guy grew up in New York region, to go 1,000 kilometers away to Krasnodar, to Russia? Do you remember what you felt when you landed?
So honestly, I don't think I've told anyone this, but so I had the option that year. So I had an option to go to Valencia or Locomotive. So me being an NBA guy, and I don't really know about overseas, Valencia was EuroLeague, but Locomotive was Euro Cup. So I didn't really know the difference between the two. So I followed the money because Locomotive was more money and Valencia was less. So I was like, you know what, let me just go. Because I think Locomotive was above $1 million and Valencia was below $1 million. So I'm like, of course, you're going to go get more money. But going to Russia was actually not that bad because Lincoln High School, like the school we go to, is probably like 35% Russian. So there's a lot of Russians in my high school already. So when I went there, it wasn't crazy. Honestly, I had like a love-hate relationships to Sasha Obradovic, the coach. He was really, really hard on me, like being a rookie in Europe, but I think it helped me a lot in the end. And I had some great veterans there too. I had Darrell Wright, Jamel McLean, Trevor Lacey, Mustafa Fall.
I think you played also with Mateusz Ponitka?
Ponitka was there with us. We had a really good team if you think about it. They made it easy. They made it easy on me. Just those guys being, Jamel's from New York, Darrell's from LA. So it's like our cultures met, so they made it a lot easier for the transition. And
how you remember your first experience with this European basketball? Because as you said, you played in Eurocup, and also VTB League. This Russian league was also with some teams outside of Russia at that moment. I think the Polish team Zielona Góra played. Yeah. You had the chance to play against teams from outside also Russia. And how was it like for you?
I think then European basketball to me was a little, I wouldn't say complex, but it was, I wasn't playing to be in Europe. I was playing more of an NBA style still when I was here. So it got me in trouble a lot, but it also helped me sometimes, because, Europe is system, there's a lot of system So teams would scout a team and they think you're gonna run this play and do this, but sometimes I would break the play and it would work, or sometimes it wouldn't work. So I think it was tough to slow down, because NBA is just up and down, up and down, up and down. So when I got to Europe and coach was like, relax, I'm like, relax, why? Like I wasn't used to playing like that. So that's why I say Obradovic helped me a lot. He slowed me down, he showed me Europe, he taught me a lot of things, so I'm grateful for that.
And when it comes to the rules, because I think it was last season in the second Polish level there was a guy from United States, and I know in the NCAA rules you act as a player, you can call it in time.
Yeah.
And in Poland, like in FIBA, you can't do this.
You can't do it.
And there was fighting the last seconds. Guy wanted to do timeout, and he lost the ball. They lost the point in game. And I was wondering, did you it was because there are different rules when it comes to the few 3 seconds. It was easy for you to adapt to these rules.
Yeah, it was easy because I think me only being 2 years out from college helped me. So I still it's kind of similar to NCAA in Europe. So I was able to watch film and, see certain things. And so, and my veterans helped me too. Like I got to keep saying that because they made it a lot easier for me coming to Europe. So.
And if somebody in 2015 will told you that in next 5 years you will play in A-Bar League in Mornar Bar, you will call him crazy?
For sure. I didn't plan on being in Europe more than 5 months when I first came. But I mean, God has his paths, he brings you to where you should be. So I'm always grateful for that. But yeah, I mean, I didn't plan on being in Europe for this long, yeah.
And from the perspective of American player, what is the hardest thing for them when they joining European, when go overseas? What is the common problem, common challenge the American players face when they joining European teams after leaving the United States?
I think coaching. Is probably the hardest thing, because when you're on a college team, you're kind of you have to do certain things when you're on a college team, but in Europe, when you're an American on a team in a country, you have to be really good. I think coaching and the pressure that the coaches put on the players, I think they have to get used to that, because honestly, if you look at it, if a player goes to a team, his skill level is good enough for him to be there. So I think what separates it is that if he could be coached by the coach, or physicality in the league, or just the style of basketball, period. So I think coaching, physicality, and style, all of that plays a factor when you come to Europe. You have to, and then I think you also have to accept Europe. You shouldn't be here trying to get somewhere else. You gotta come here, learn the rules, play how they play, and it'll take you to a higher level.
It's interesting thing, because I think there are some players, American players, that I don't want to say that treat the playing in Europe as a punishment, but they thinking with I need to go back as fast as I can to NBA, even to G League, and sometimes you can see by their performance or their mindset that they were not focused on current team they playing, but they focus on their personal goals.
Yeah, that's what I mean by you have to accept Europe. You have to come here and accept the team, accept the situation that you're in, and you'll get out much faster than you trying to score 40 and your team lose. That's not how it works. So, like I said, when my first year, that's how I was thinking. I got to score to show them that I could still play. But they calmed me down. They told me, "Hey, look, this is the way you do it." Blah blah blah. And I think it helped me.
So when was the moment you accepted this? It was in the first season that, because as you said, you were told that you will be in Europe for 5 months.
Yeah.
So when was the moment that you learned to be a player in Europe?
Honestly, I think it took probably last year.
Really?
Like
So many years.
Yeah, like because I've always, because like for us in America, our dream is to be a consistent NBA player. Like so. I think I won't say last year. I would say last year I fully accepted Europe. Like the years previous, I was like maybe just. I have a chance if I go here. If I go here, I have a chance to get back. But last year, I think that's why I played well in Nessiona, because it was just like, I'm here. You know what? Let me be here. Let me play here. Let me focus on being here. And I think that helped me a lot. And before, I think too, also, I would like get into it with coaches and stuff like that in my previous teams before Nessiona, just because I always had that attitude, like I didn't want to be there. Like I didn't feel like I was supposed to be here. So I think that played a big part in like why certain teams and certain situations didn't match or didn't work out. But I think last year I really locked in and focused on Europe. So, and also this year too. I think that this is probably, if you look at it, if anyone looks after watching the interview, like this is probably my best start to a season in Europe since I've been here, because I'm accepting being here, I'm accepting the system, I'm accepting everything. So.
And a part of this period, short period in like Pistons G League team, have you ever been close to come back to NBA?
I've been getting invites to like veterans camps and stuff like that, but the timeline is difficult, because the timeline that you would be in veteran camp, you would be signing a contract in Europe. So you have to kind of pick, okay, do you want guaranteed money or do you want to take a chance, So I have kids, so I've always picked guaranteed money because kids are expensive. So I need the money. I always need the money. So that's why it's been, tough to go to those camps and things like that. So.
And what you knew about the Polish basketball or Poland before you signed a contract with Śląsk?
What did I know? I don't think I really knew a lot. I've known the league. You know what I noticed about Polish basketball when I wasn't here? I think a lot of guys come here to identify themselves. Like a lot of guards come here to, show what they can do, and they go higher. Like a lot of players in the EuroLeague played here on certain teams and stuff like that. So I think this is definitely a place where you could showcase your talent and also win. So it's a very competitive league. It's more competitive than I actually thought it would be. But yeah, it's a great league. I mean, I'm happy to be here. Like I told you, I accepted being here. I mean, I'm in tune with the fan base. I'm in tune with my teammates, coach. So I mean, everything's been good.
I look at the recent history of Śląsk, and you said about this that this Polish league can be like trampoline for like Americans. And I look at the recent history. There was like two great guards, Travis Trice and Jeremiah Martin.
Exactly.
Who like had especially like Travis Trice, because he led this team to a championship that they wanted for many years. And now I look at you are Sanglin, and what is like your personal approach to this season when you join Śląsk?
To win. I mean, the tradition is winning. So I mean, you have to come into the season, thinking of the ultimate goal, or thinking of winning the championship. I think we started the right way with the cup, just to feel how it feels to win. I think it was a tough schedule, so we lost a game or lost a couple games. Because of the cup, honestly, because it was so close to our start of the season. But yeah, I mean, like when I talked to Coach coming here, he said, like the goal is to win. It's not to be fourth place, it's not to be fifth place, it's not to be sixth place, it's not to be third place. Like we want to be top two in the league. So I think that's our goal. I know it's tough teams. You know, you have a lot of good teams, but I mean, I'm always gonna pick myself over anyone. So I'm definitely looking forward to the season, and I've told the fans multiple times, like, our goal is to win. We want to bring a championship.
And do you know some players of other teams? Did you have a chance to play against some of these players in the NCAA or other leagues?
So I know Tavon Myers from King. We grew up, he's from Brooklyn. Kamari Murphy from, what team is that? Gora?
Yeah,
Gora. Yeah. We played high school together.
The world is small.
Yeah, I know Luther Muhammad.
Yes.
He's from around where I live in New Jersey. I know a lot of guys, honestly, that's here this year. So I look forward to playing against them for sure.
We talked at the beginning a little bit about this your league, your project, and I also saw on your Instagram that you were sometimes on the camps. You were like teaching some players, and I was wondering, do you see yourself as a coach?
I actually coach now. I coach kids though. I coach like 7th grade basketball, and I love it. I mean, you know, my thing is where I'm from. The knowledge of the basketball and where I've been, I think they can like, you know, use it. I think I can help them become better players just off of where I've been, who I've played for, stuff like that. So I definitely want to coach after, just to stay around the game. You know, I have a son, so hopefully he wants to play. You know, so I'm always going to be around basketball, so why not, you know.
But do you see yourself as a coaching adults? Like, you know, guys like your teammates?
I think I can see it, but it's definitely a process. You know, it's definitely.
Yeah, right now it's hard to imagine.
You gotta really lock in. That I feel like for me to become an adult coach, head coach, it would be like me starting all over again. You know, from when I was 12 years old, like, because coaches' jobs are hard. Like, people don't really harp on that a lot. So, you know, I would just have to accept that responsibility and, you know, lock in to become a coach. But I could definitely see it. Like, I won't say I won't do it. You know?
And does the Europe, like playing, living in Europe, change you also as a person and as a basketball player? I mean, does it change your approach to basketball?
Yeah, I think it did a lot. My goal, honestly, is to live in Europe after basketball. Like, I want to live somewhere.
Really? You don't want to go back to?
Nah, I don't want to go back to America. So I want to move my family. We want to move somewhere in Europe. You know, I just think Europe is more, you know, relaxed. You know, everybody's, you know, calm, and it's a good way of living. So that's my goal, personal goal, just to, you know, get some property in Europe somewhere and raise my family there. So.
Because you have 2 kids, yes? And does being father change you?
Oh yeah, for sure, 1,000%. Like I said before, veteran camp or guaranteed money. You know, it's not about me anymore. It's about, you know, providing for my kids. So I'm always take guaranteed money, and you know, I'm the father, so I have to be there to, you know, fix everything or, you know, make everything perfect, things like that. So yeah.
But the kids are in USA.
They're in the USA now, yeah. Because last year, so they usually come to Europe, but last year, you know, Israel was the war, stuff like that. So they stayed the whole year, but they'll be here November 4th. So they'll be here.
But how is like to combining being a player with being a father, because like being a father is like being in the club, fatherhood 24 hours per day. Even now you can talk through them through like a phone, but you know, it's some kind of responsibility you have, like you said. And many athletes told me that when they became the father, they started to looking at, for example, the sport they're playing with bigger distance. Like there are some guys that were thinking about basketball 24 hours per day. That was in their DNA, their religion, their focus. And when they became fathers, they started being more calmer guys. What about you?
I I became a father young, so I think it's always kids first, basketball second for sure. But like I kind of broke it up into like when I'm here, I'm here. You know, like, and I've told teams this before. Like, I don't want a coach calling me at 8 p.m. like about the game, or I don't want my teammates calling me, hey, look what coach did today, you know, like, because I feel like when I'm home, it should be separate. It shouldn't be, like, I should be able to be a normal person.
You have like two worlds.
Yeah, so I have two worlds. So when I come here, I'm locked in. I'm focused on basketball, I'm focused on them. But when I go home, my kids, my mom, my girl, everyone, that's my attention. You know, that's who I put my attention to. So I think that's a big thing. Playing in Europe when you're away from everyone. You have to give them that time. You have to have that time to yourself to where you speak to them, you see how their day was, you know, stuff like that. And I think that's a big part of my day also. Like if I have a bad game or if I have bad practice, you know, I go home, I talk to my kids, everything starts over. Like I'm not thinking about it anymore. So I think that's a big thing.
And also the fact that there is a time zone. You can only talk to them at the evenings.
Exactly. So I think now, well, right now I think it's pretty good because during this time they're in school. So we'll have practice now. So when I get home later, they're out. So now I can talk to them. So it evens out, you know.
But after what you said, I think you don't like to analyze your game. Like you like rewatching your games, like looking at the stats,
Not really. I mean, I think I've been a pro so long that I know where I messed up. I know where my faults were, if I should have passed, if I should have shot, you know. And we watch a lot of film with the team, so I don't want to overdo it on myself, you know, because if I come to practice, we watch film. You see all your errors, you know, you see everything you did wrong, this, that. Then you go home and you watch all your errors again. Now you're just like, dang, like, I really messed up. Like, I think it's good to have that next game mentality, next practice mentality. Like, all right, I did bad last game, you know what? I got another one, you know? So I think that's a big thing.
We talk about like the evolution of global basketball at the beginning of our podcast, but I was thinking, do you like this evolution? How the basketball evolving, like since in the last 20 years, 20, 30 years? Do you like that?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. In terms of like evolution, in terms of like, you know, European players and American players, like in NBA, stuff like that, you mean? Or
yes, because that's also the thing, because we see now how international players are leading the NBA, and I heard like the discussion in American media that, because I know at the junior level, basketball level in USA, there are so many games that kids play, like almost every time games.
Yeah.
And in Poland, like usually in Europe, the kids play like maybe one game per week at the weekend, and most of the time they practice. They practice. And so guys in NBA in America said that America should go that way, to have more practice instead of like playing games in competition. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I think as kids, like me as a kid growing up, I didn't really, like my mom, like I feel like in Europe, they start young as a professional. So it's different, you know, like if you turn professional at 14, 15 years old,
like Luka Doncic,
it's a job now. Like, but in America, it's just basketball. You know, you just going to play. So it's different. There's different aspects when you look at it. So like, if my kid was a professional at 14, 15, of course, every week, every day he's gonna work out and then maybe have a game, you know, just to see what he can do. But if it's just a kid that enjoys playing basketball, I mean, why not? I mean, why not let him play 5 games a week? Like, you know, it's still a kid. It's just a sport.
But maybe that is the reason that many European players are now leading the NBA because, like I said, Luka Doncic started playing professionally, I think, about 16. Wembanyama, the same thing. Nikola Jokic. These guys coming to NBA already having like 2-3 seasons of pro games, and they're fighting with American rookies who, for example, played one season in NCAA. So maybe that's the reason that now international players are so good in NBA. Or
I won't say that. I mean, I think the NBA has made it to where the international players can be good in some sorts. You know, like the physicality, like we talked before. Of course, Luka wouldn't score 50 points every 3 games if you can arm check him and push him and be aggressive, you know, things like that. But of course he would be good, you know, but as far as like the dominance, I think the NBA is so hard to really read who's dominant and who's not, because it's just about who makes shots. Like it's not really thinking the game. It's not really like, it's just up and down. If you make 7 shots, you have 21 points. If you make 7 threes, you have 20. Like if you miss 7, you just miss them.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I think Europe is more pressure. Like if I go next game and go 0 for 7 from 3, my agent's gonna get a call from the owner. You know, like it's different than, so I think it's more free. I think it's just, you know, showcase your skills. It's no like, I won't say to get hurt, but you have a greater chance of getting hurt playing in a Polish league game than the NBA, because just the physicality, you know, it's different. So, I mean, the international players are definitely great. Like they're great players, but I think it helps them, the rules in the NBA now. You know, I think it does. Just the way it's played. Because it was less, I feel like it was less when it was physical. A lot of guys from Europe would go over there and try to, you know, make a career, and they couldn't because it was just too physical. It wasn't, or they weren't like, they didn't have enough space and stuff like that. So I think that definitely plays a factor, but not taken away from the international players, of course, you know.
And what are your thoughts about this evolution of NCAA basketball in terms of organization? Because now we have this NIL deals.
NIL,
Yes, that I heard like this students, athletes like earning millions. Like we saw in women basketball that they staying as much as they can in like NCAA to have like a sponsorship deal. And I remember in like your time or before that, if even, you know, like somebody drove you to like a meeting, they could be fined, suspended. I know you have like the story of agent and that this accusation that, and yes, and also the Fab Five from Michigan, they also were suspended. Derrick Rose, Memphis, so many. There was like, I remember so many news stories about this, and now we see like these transfer portals and stuff like that. Do you like this? Okay, in one way they have money they wanted because NCAA was making billions of dollars and they win nothing, and another side like these guys are now could be distracted about their primary goal to be like pro.
I mean, the way I look at it is I like it because how many players would go 4 years in college and not get a chance at the NBA? Like it's a lot of them. So I think it's kind of like a fight back to the NBA because there's only so many spots, and where can you go that you can make 6 figures your first year out if it's not the NBA to those guys? You know, you could come to Europe, but it might not be more than what you're gonna get if you're still in school. So I think I like it because I mean sometimes I feel like college athletes, some players just, that's what they're gonna be, you know, college athletes. They're not good enough to play professional. They're not, you know, they don't have the drive enough to play professional. So I think at every level you should be able to make some kind of money to support you, to support your family. So I like it. I mean, I like it a lot.
And you said mention a little bit about this Israel part and how it was like, to wake up and hearing the missiles and bombs. Because from what I knew from one of interview with you and your mom, that you were meeting your friend in Ashdod.
Yeah, Ashdod.
Yeah, and you heard the missiles, and there was like your mother told the press how she was frightened, how she called you to her just that you are alive, that you are safe, and from your perspective, how you remember these days?
It was crazy. That was probably, I tell everyone all the time, like, that was the first time in my life that I actually felt like it was a chance that I could die.
So not in the streets of New York?
Nah, like that was a time where I was like, you know what, like today might be the day. Because it was like, it was so uncontrolling. Like you couldn't go anywhere. Like it was like, if I'm in the streets of New York, something happens, I can run, I can find shelter, it was just like, I was so uneducated on what was going on that it was just like, what do I do? Where do I go? Like, so I think that was like definitely the toughest situation I've ever been in, like within life or death. Because it was like, the way I looked at it as, imagine I was going to get breakfast, and they had guys on pickup trucks just shooting random cars, random people. Like it was like a crazy moment. So.
And how long took you to feel safe again? After you landed in Greece, I think you evacuated to Greece.
Yeah, we went to Greece for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. It was cool there. Then I went home, probably like 3 weeks, and then they wanted me to come back, and then like it was a lot of like, I need to be here, I need to have this, blah blah blah. But Nessiona, they took care of us. I mean, everything they said they would do, they did it. That's still family. I still talk to them now, just because we went through that together. We had each other's back, stuff like that. So yeah, it was definitely a crazy time.
Coming to the end, what is like the biggest life lesson basketball gave you?
Life lesson? I mean, I think the biggest life lesson is accept where you are. Just accept your reality, accept your circumstances. Like wherever you are, make the best of it. And you can't move forward without making the best of the situation that you're in. So I think that's the best thing that I learned.
You said that you want to live in Europe. You said that you adapt, that you are a Europe basketball player, but if we called you former NBA player, that will be true or false? That, I mean, have you still of your mind like the dream or goal to play in NBA one day?
I won't say dream, but if the opportunity presented itself, of course. I mean, that's still the best league in the world. Of course, I mean, anyone would take that deal. But as far as hunting for it, not anymore. I think Europe is where I am, and I have to accept it. So I think me accepting Europe would make me going to the NBA a reality more than me actually trying to get there. Like I think me playing well, being here, would have them call me before I'm playing well here to go to try to get there, because it's going to be two different Isaiahs, so.
And do you like to watch NBA? Maybe
I hate to watch NBA. I hate it.
Really?
I hate it.
You don't have like a part of Ned's favorite team or favorite guys to watch?
Steph Curry. I like Steph Curry just because of the greatness. It's like a lot. Like imagine how many shots he had to take to be that good. That's how I look at it. Like Steph Curry is definitely my favorite player. Role model as well, as Family Guy, so he's easy to, attract or he's easy to try to model yourself after, like as a man, not as a player. So I think that makes it easier for him to be my favorite player.
At the end, because every guest in my podcast has to pick their dream team, but only from the guys that played with in the team or the NCAA or high school, and depends of their skill, depends of your sympathy towards them. I don't care, but there is one rule: you have to play with them with explanation. So I will start with point guard.
Point guard without me?
You can pick yourself.
Oh, okay.
But explain why you pick.
Point guard. Let me see that I've played with. My dream team that I've played with point guard, I would go Derek Needham from Besiktas. Just because he's a natural leader, hardworking guy, family guy. That's actually one of my, I consider him a close friend. And I would feel safe going to battle with him. He's a battle-tested guy, and he knows how to win. So, shooting guard, I would choose myself, just because I'm a competitor. I'm pretty good to be on the court with. So small forward, I would choose. Wow. Small forward. Maybe Karis LeVert. We were rookies together with the Nets. I was with him for 2 years. Great guy, family guy, competitor. Could do everything on the court, defend, shoot, handle. So yeah, I'll pick him at the 3. At the 4, power forward, I would go power forward. Who did I play with? That was a power forward. Rondé Hollis Jefferson. That's my guy. I knew him since we were like 12. Mid-range, good dribble, he can play defense 1 through 4, so I think he'll be a good addition. And in the 5, I gotta go.
One thing, sometimes I think that half of the American players grew up in New York, because every time you mention players, I grew up with him, he grew up nearby him.
Nah, for sure. Me and Rondé, our moms are actually close friends, so like he's from Philly, my mom's from New York, but over the years, that AAU basketball scene, they kind of came friends. At the 5, I'm gonna go Brook Lopez. Brook, my first 2 years, he took me in. He's a great guy, and he's definitely a great player. So yeah, that's what I'll choose.
And coach also.
Coach, I would go Jock Vaughn. Jock Vaughn, the coach of he was the coach of the Nets last year. Kansas, went to Kansas as a player. Great coach, great guy. He knows his stuff. So yeah, I'll pick Jock Vaughn.
And apart of staying healthy, what I can wish to you?
Safeness for my family, friends. That's it. Yeah.